for over 4,000 years. Just think about that. It stood there, a silent witness to history, to the rise and fall of entire civilizations. Part lion, part human, the Great Sphinx of Giza is, without a doubt, one of humanity's greatest and most captivating mysteries. And it just makes you ask some really big questions.
I mean, seriously, who even came up with this? What was its purpose? Just sitting there, guarding the pyramids? And why, after all this time, do we still find ourselves completely captivated by that mysterious stare? Well, let's dive in and see what we can find out.
To really get the Sphinx, you have to go right back to the beginning. And this isn't your typical construction story with bricks and mortar. Oh no, this is the story of a giant being carved right out of the planet itself.
So, the general consensus among the experts points to one guy in one specific era. We're talking about the Old Kingdom, way back around 2500 BCE, during the reign of Pharaoh Khafre. And yeah, that's the same pharaoh who built the second Great Pyramid at Giza. This puts the Sphinx right in the middle of ancient Egypt's most epic building spree. Okay, now this is where the story gets absolutely wild. The Sphinx wasn't built up, it was carved down. It was unleashed. The ancient engineers found this huge chunk of natural limestone just sitting there, and instead of adding blocks to it, they started taking pieces away. They carved this incredible, monumental masterpiece straight from the living rock of the plateau. The sheer guts and vision to even attempt that, it's just mind-boggling.
And the scale? It's just staggering. From its front paws all the way to its tail, the Sphinx stretches out 73 meters. To put that in perspective, that's almost the length of an entire American football field, all carved from a single piece of stone. And it's not just long, it's tall. It rises 20 meters into the air. That's about the height of a 6-story building. When you start putting those numbers together, you really start to feel the colossal scale of what they accomplished.
So we have a good idea of who built it and how they did it, but that leads us to the next massive question. Why? Why go to all that trouble? Well, the answer seems to be packed into its powerful and very intentional design.
And this comparison really breaks it down beautifully. The Sphinx is a hybrid, a fusion of two incredibly powerful symbols. You've got the lion's body, which is all about raw strength, protection, and the authority of a king. But all that power is guided by the head of a pharaoh, symbolizing divine wisdom and human intelligence. It's the perfect mashup for an ideal ruler, pure might guided by intelligence.
See, this wasn't just some decorative statue. This thing had a job to do. It was placed there as the ultimate guardian for Khafre's entire pyramid complex. Its main duty? To protect the pharaoh's sacred tomb from literally any threat, whether in this world or the next. It was basically a divine sentinel for all eternity.
Now, try to get this image in your head. The sand-colored monument we see today is just a ghost of what it used to be. Archaeologists have actually found traces of old paint on it, revealing that it was once covered in bright, vibrant colors. The face, especially, was likely a deep reddish brown, which would have made its divine features pop against the bright desert sun. It must have been an absolutely awe-inspiring sight.
But look, you don't stick around for 4,500 years without picking up a few battle scars along the way. The Sphinx's long history is written all over its stone body.
One of its most famous features is, well, the one that's missing, the nose. The popular story everyone's heard is that Napoleon's troops used it for target practice and blew it off with a cannon. But that's just a myth. We have drawings from before Napoleon ever got to Egypt that already show the Sphinx with a missing nose. The damage happened centuries earlier, and it was likely a deliberate act of iconoclasm, someone destroying it because they saw it as a forbidden idol.
But its greatest enemy, the desert itself, also turned out to be its savior. For huge stretches of time, the shifting sands of the Giza Plateau completely swallowed the monument, burying it right up to its neck. And while that windblown sand did erode the exposed parts, being buried actually protected the more delicate lower body from the harsh desert elements. And this whole burial situation sets the stage for one of the most famous stories from ancient Egypt. Imagine this: a young prince, not even in the direct line to be the next pharaoh, takes a nap in the shadow of the Sphinx's head. And in his dream, the great statue actually speaks to him and makes him an offer he can't refuse.
So, in the dream, the Sphinx tells Prince Thutmose IV that if he clears away all the suffocating sand that's buried its body, he will become the next pharaoh of all Egypt. Thutmose gets to work, he honors the request, and, true to the prophecy, he becomes king. To make sure nobody ever forgot about this incredible deal, he built a massive stone slab, now called the Dream Stele, and placed it right between the Sphinx's paws to tell the story forever. I mean, that story alone shows you that even for later ancient Egyptians, the Sphinx was already this ancient, sacred, and mysterious being. And that powerful sense of wonder has only grown over the centuries, totally firing up our modern imagination.
You know, because its origins aren't perfectly documented, the Sphinx has become this magnet for all kinds of speculation. People wonder if there are secret chambers hidden under its paws, or if it was actually built by some lost civilization that came before the Egyptians. Some even argue it's way, way older than we think. Now, while these ideas are definitely fascinating, it's really important to remember they aren't supported by the actual archaeological evidence we have today.
And that right there, that's the real secret to its power. The Sphinx isn't just a pile of carved rock. It's a giant question mark etched into the desert floor. It practically begs us to wonder, to speculate, and to try and connect with a past so ancient, it almost feels like another world.
So the Great Sphinx endures, a guardian of the pyramids and a keeper of ancient secrets. It reminds us that for all the amazing things we've uncovered, the sands of time are incredibly deep. And you have to believe they still have more stories left to tell. It really makes you wonder, what else is still out there, just waiting to be found?